Start? Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Jazakumullah. So, inshallah ta'ala, wanted to mention some affairs connected to beautification. As we mentioned within the khutbah, some types of clothing that are impermissible for us to wear. All of that is connected to the affair of beautification. Similarly, we're going to look at some errors and common mistakes that we find in this bab, whether that beautification may be connected to one's body, whether it may be connected to one's clothing, whether it may be connected to other than that, from jewelry and the likes. All of that is connected to the affair of al-jamal. And as we mentioned in the khutbah, as you have heard, the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Inna Allaha jamilun yuhibbul jamal. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty. So Islam, it gives due importance to the affair of beautification, and it governs it, and it sets it in order so that the people are not haphazard in their methods and manners of beautifying themselves. At-tajammul or beautification, it is from those affairs that the Sharia has given due importance to. And this is due to the fact that deviation in this regard, if a person deviates and does something which he should not do or which she should not do in the affair of beautification and adornment and striving to beautify themselves, then this is something that will bring about evil results. It will bring about evil results upon the individual as well as on the society in this life as well as the hereafter. So the first affair that we're going to look at in this realm or in this bab of beautification, and it will highlight to us and make clear to us the importance that Islam gives to the affair, is the characteristics of al-fitra, the acts and the characteristic of al-fitra, meaning those actions that correspond with the natural disposition and the way that Allah Ta'ala has created us. It has come on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, al-fitratu khams, aw khams min al-fitra. That he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the fitra is 5. Or he said, 5 are from the fitra. 5 are from the fitra. Then he mentioned these 5. He said, firstly, al-khitan, or circumcision, wal-istihdad, and the removal of the private part hair, wa-taqleem al-adfar, and clipping the nails, wa-natf al-ibta, and plucking out the hair of the armpits, wa-qas al-sharib, and he mentioned the trimming of the mustache. And Nawawi, he mentioned concerning this narration that when he said al-fitra to khams aw khams min al-fitra, this is some doubt from the rawi. It is some doubt from the narrator. Meaning either he said it like this or he said it like that. The narrator was unsure. So either he said 5 or that the fitra is 5, or he said 5 is from the fitra. And the ulama, they say that which is most likely is that is the second. That khams min al-fitra, that 5 affairs are from the fitra. And what makes this second statement more likely to be correct? The narration that we have indicating that the acts of fitra 10. So it is more likely that he said 5 are from the fitra, as this would not restrict it to a particular number. Now, and so, and what makes that more preponderant is what comes in the other narration, in which there is jazm, there is some type of firmness from the narrator, in which he mentions al-fitra to khams, that 5, or that khams min al-fitra. At any rate, Abu Hurairah, he mentioned that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, al-fitra to khams al-ikhtitan. He said the fitra is 5. He mentioned al-ikhtitan, which is circumcision again, wal-istihdad, and the removal of the hair of the private area, wa qas al-sharib, he mentions as well trimming the mustache, وتقليم الأظفار, the clipping of the nails, والنتف الإبطة, and he mentioned as well the plucking out of the armpit hair. So concerning the first affair is that of al-khitan or al-ikhtitan, and that is the affair of circumcision. And when speaking regarding this particular affair of circumcision, we're going to utilize some terminologies and some words that are a bit explicit, not filthy or dirty, but they are grown-up words, I should say. Now, at any rate, another we said concerning its detail, concerning the details of it, فالختان is wajib عند الشافعي. That according to Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i, and many others of the ulama, circumcision is wajib. It is wajib. Whereas, according to Imam Malik and the majority of the ulama, circumcision is a sunnah. It is a sunnah. According to Shafi'i, he holds it to be wajib upon both men and women. The circumcision, according to Shafi'i, is wajib upon both men and women. In relation to its kayfiyah regarding the men, then what is obligatory regarding the men is that يقطع جميع الجلدة التي تغطي الحشفة, is that all of the skin that covers the hashfa, which is the head of the man's phallus, all of the skin that covers that is to be removed to the point that no. Then concerning what is wajib in relation to al-khitan for the men, it is that all of the hair, all of the skin that covers the hashfa, which is the head of the man's phallus, all of that skin is to be removed until the hashfa, it is totally revealed. In relation to the woman, the circumcision regarding the woman is that a small amount of skin that is just above a small amount of skin is removed from what's known as the clitoral hood. It is just above the vagina. The legend at Da'ima mentions concerning this that al-khitan is from the sunan of al-fitra. The circumcision is from the sunan of al-fitra, based upon the narration of Abu Huraira that comes in the two Sahihs. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Khams min al-fitra," 5 are from the fitra. They mentioned in the hadith that we mentioned previously. And he said, "Wal aslu fi khitan nisa annahu mukarrama," that the also regarding the circumcision of women is that it is an ennoblement. It is something honorable. It is something dignified. And this is based upon the hadith of Al-Dhahak ibn Qais, may Allah be pleased with him, that he said, "Kana bil Medina imra'atun takhfad an-nisa," that there was a woman in Medina who used to circumcise the women. يقال لها عطية, her name was عطية. فقال لها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet said to her, "Ashimmi wala tanhaki." He said, remove a small amount of skin and don't go to excess. Don't go too far. فإنه أنظر للوجه وأحظى عند الزوج, because it serves to brighten the woman's face and it is more pleasurable for the husband. And when the circumcision is done right for the woman, then it serves to brighten her face and it is pleasurable to the husband. Hadith reported by Al-Hakim, Al-Tabarani, and other than them. So why is it considered to be something that is pleasurable to the husband for the woman to get circumcised when it's done properly and correctly? Because in order to know that, as they say, bil adbad, by way of opposites, then the excellence of things become known. Now, by way of the opposites of things, then the excellence of their opposites become clear to us. We know that in many of the countries, or some of the countries in Africa and other places, you find that they do what's called the pharaonic circumcision, or the pharaohic circumcision, in which they go into the woman's vaginal area and they totally remove her clitoris. and they sew it back to as though she just has a hole small enough to urinate through. This, in reality, is genital mutilation. It is not the circumcision that is done according to the sunnah. But when the circumcision is done for the female in accordance with the sunnah, then the woman will actually get more pleasure from relations with her husband. Why? Because it exposes that area more. It exposes that area more. Now, when it is done in accordance with the pharaonic circumcision, it is believed that it will minimize the woman's, it'll minimize her sexual desire, thus causing her to be chaste and preventing her from being loose, if you will. Now, again, this is genital mutilation. It is not from the sunnah at all. So when it's done correctly, it will be more pleasurable for the woman and for the husband. And it will bring about light upon her face, or it will brighten her face. Now, he mentions, or the legend of Da'imah, they go on to say that the description of the khitan al-mashru', the legislative circumcision for the women, it is that ishmam al-warid fil hadith as-sabiq. The hadith, it mentions this was called ishmam, when he said ashimmi wala tanhaki. He mentioned to her, to Umatiyah, ashimmi, meaning to take a small amount of skin, just a very small amount of skin, and don't go to excess, don't go too far. He says, wal ishmam huwa akh al yasir. It is taking a very small amount. Wa yakun biqat juz'an min al jild allati ka'iraf ad-dik. It is done by way of removing a small amount, just a small amount of skin from what's called from a small amount of skin, as we mentioned, is called the clitoral hood. It is resembling to the piece of skin you're going to remove. It's resembling to what's called the iraf ad-dik, or the rooster's comb. You know what the little thing that a rooster has on its head, the little skin like piece he has on his head. So imagine taking a small amount of that, just a tip of that little piece that the rooster has upon its head. And that's all that is to be removed. Ma'am, he says, it is just above the makhraj al-bawl, just above the area where she urinates from. And it is not that you're going to go in and remove the entirety of the woman's clitoris. أما الصفة الواردة في السؤال ومسمى بالختان الفرعوني فلا تجوز. And this statement of the legend of Da'imah comes in response to a question in which the questioner described what we mentioned to you, the pharaonic circumcision that is done in many countries of Africa, in Somalia and other places. You find them still practicing this to this day. The legend they mentioned that as for what has come in the question that is referred to as the khitan al-fir'auni, the pharaohic circumcision, it is not permissible due to the prohibition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that. From that, wherein he said, Ashimmi wala tanhaki. He told her to take a small amount, wala tanhaki. Yani don't go to excess, don't go too far in removing whatever it is that you're going to remove. Wal inhak al manhi anhu huwa al mubalagha. He says that inhak that has been prohibited, it is al mubalagha, going to extremes. Going to extremes in the removal of whatever is being removed by these people. It is muharram, that is impermissible due to what this contains from harm of the woman. Due to what it contains from harm of the woman. And the Prophet ﷺ said, La darar wa la dirar. There's to be neither harm nor reciprocal harm. The next act of fitra that was mentioned in the hadith was which? The removal of the pubic hair. And the word that is used is al-istihdad. Al-istihdad. Okay? And this is halq al-ana. It is referring to halq, or the shaving of al-ana, the area called al-ana. And al-ana is the area that is immediately around the penis of the man, and likewise immediately around the vagina of the woman. Now, and it can also, this objective, or that which is best, is that it is shaved. That which is best is that it is shaved due to the word being utilized in the hadith, al-istihdad, coming from a hadida, or blade, coming from the word that means blade. Now, so since this is what is used in the narration, then this is what is best, shaving with a razor. However, it is also permissible to remove it by whatever modern day means that we have at our disposal, such as waxing, such as these types of creams that remove the hair and the likes of that. And as you mentioned, what is intended by al-ana is ash-sha'ru alladhi fawqa dhaka ar-rajul wa hawali, is the hair that is just above the phallus of the man and what is around it. Likewise, the hair that is around the vagina of the woman. Now, and it has been transmitted from Ibn Abbas, or from Abu Abbas Ibn Suraysh, that he said, Ash-shar an-nabit halqa ad-dubr, that it also refers to the hair that is around the anus. Also, the hair that is around the anus. Now, so by way of that, by way of what we have already mentioned and by way of what we just mentioned, we can deduce from that it is recommended to remove the hair from both the front and the back. From both the front and the back. To the point that he mentioned that the back hair has even more right to be removed than that which is in the front, due to the filth that can gather upon that hair and remain there, and the odor that it would cause and the likes of that. Now when we mentioned that it is also permissible to utilize waxing and the likes of that, this is not to be understood to mean that a woman or a man can go to a place and have somebody wax their private area. It's not permissible. It is not permissible. While it is permissible to have someone, for example, as we're going to see in that which is to come, inshallah ta'ala, remove the armpit hair for you, it is not permissible to have somebody remove your private part hair other than yourself or your spouse. Now, the next act that was mentioned was what? Taqaleem al-adfar, or clipping the nails. It's not just fingernails, the toenails as well. And now we mentioned that the sunnah, or this is something which is a sunnah, laysa bi wajibin. Statement of Nawawi. And Nawawi was what in fiqh? What was his madhab fiqhan? Imam Nawawi. He was Shafi'i fiqhan. Imam Nawawi Shafi'i in fiqh. Naam. وهو تفعيل من القلم وهو القطع. It's taqleem, he brings an Arabic language benefit. It is on the wazn of taf'il from the word al-qalam, which is to cut something. It is to cut something. And it is recommended that one begins with the two hands first before going to the feet. That you do your hands first before doing your feet. Now, and that one begins with the index finger of the right hand. So follow me. This is in order to adhere to the narration al-aymanu fil-aymanu from the Messenger of Allah that he would love to begin with the right in all affairs. He would like to begin with the right in all affairs. So you want to start with the index finger of the yumna, of the right hand. Thumma al-wusta, and you're going to work your way like this, going to the right. Right? So you start with the index finger, then the wusta, then the bensir, then the khinsir, then come back around to the thumb. Then when you go to your left hand, you're going to start on the khinsir, on the pinky, and then work your way right. The bensir, the wusta, the sababa, and then do your thumb like this, and you do the same. You do the same with the feet. Now, and this was mentioned by Nawawi that this is best, it's ideal to adhere to the narration al-aymanu fil-ayman, begin to the right, and then go next in order to the right of that. Now, the next was mentioned, that was what? Natf al-ibta, plucking out the hair of the armpits. Plucking out the hair of the armpits. That which is ideal is a natf, or plucking, to pluck the hair out, due to what has come in the narrations, what's mentioned in the hadith. If one is strong enough to bear that, and you have to be pretty strong to bear just your armpit have been snatched out from your armpits. Now, however, this can also be achieved by way of shaving, or by way of utilizing, these creams and the likes of that. Now, it is reported from Yunus ibn Abdul A'la that he said, "Dakhat ala Shafi'i." On one occasion, I entered upon Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, wa indahu al-muzayyin. He had a muzayyin, or a beautician, along with him, that was shaving his armpits. The beautician was shaving the armpits of Imam al-Shafi'i. Imam al-Shafi'i said, "Alamt anna sunnah an-natf." He says, I know that the sunnah is to pluck it out. However, lakin la aqwa ala al-wajh. However, I can't take the pain. I can't take the pain. Now, similarly, it is recommended to start with what side? The right side. That you start with the right side and then you go to the left armpit. Also, the last thing that was mentioned in that particular version of the hadith is qas al-sharib, is the trimming of the mustache. The trimming of the mustache. It is also a sunnah. It is also a sunnah. And it is recommended that one start on the right side of the mustache and work his way like this. So you start on the right side, and this and one has a choice either to trim the mustache, meaning you can either just line it up what is immediately around the lip, or you can knock it down some. You can knock it down some and trim what's immediately around the lip. What you should not do is shave it. You should not shave it. Nor should you trim it from the top. You shouldn't trim it from the top. Rather, you trim it from the bottom, just what is right above the lip. And as I mentioned, you can lighten it, right? You can hit it with a guard and lighten it, but you should not shave it. You should not shave it. Now, as we're going to see, inshallah ta'ala. Al-Baji, he mentioned in the explanation of Al-Muwatta that it is reported from Ibn Abdul Hakam, from Malik, that he said, "Laysa ihfa al-sharib halquhu," that trimming the mustache is not achieved by shaving it. Imam Malik said trimming the mustache is not achieved by shaving it. Imam Malik said, "Wa'ara and yu'addab man halaqa sharibah." I hold that whoever shaves his mustache should be whipped. Likewise, it is reported from Ashab, who reported from Malik, that he said, "Halquhu min al-bid'ah," that shaving the mustache is an innovation. Now, it has come from Abd ibn Farhan al-Maliki within Tabsira al-Hakam that halaq al-sharib fi man turad shahadatuhum. The one who shaves his mustache off, he is considered to be from those whose testimony should be rejected. We don't accept this testimony. Now, and Nawawi likewise mentioned, he said that the guideline regarding the trimming of the mustache is that one trims the mustache, as you mentioned, just what is just above the shafa, just what is just above the top lip, and he does not remove it as also mean he does not shave at all. This is our madhab. It is known concerning, and it's what shows us that you can either just suffice with trimming it around the lip and let the mustache grow thick, or you can knock it down some. But Umar ibn al-Khattab, he had a thick mustache. He had a thick mustache, indicating that what? He would not knock it down. Rather, he would just trim what is around his lip. So Umar, he had a really thick mustache, as he reported from Zayd ibn Aslam, from Amr ibn Abdullah ibn Zubair, that Umar ibn al-Khattab, whenever he would get angry, he would twist his mustache. This was his habit. Whenever he would get upset, he would just twist his mustache and he would exhale. May Allah be pleased with him. Concerning the time frame for observing these acts of fitra, then Anas radiallahu anhu, he mentioned, قال وقت لنا في قص الشارع وتقليم الأظفار والنتف الإبط وحلق العانة ألا نترك أكثر من 40 ليلة. He said that the Prophet ﷺ demarcated for us a set amount of time for trimming the mustache, and likewise clipping the nails and plucking out the armpit hair and the shaving of the private area hair, that we should not let that go for more than 40 days, or for more than 40 nights rather. However, in Nawawi, he said that which is ideal is that it's done عند الحاجة. And any time you need to do it, even if it's less than 40 days. So you don't wait until 40 days. That's just the max amount of time you should go before you do it. But rather, any time. What is best is that any time you notice the hair growing back, you go ahead and you take care of it. And this is something that we have to pay attention to, especially as people who have spouses and things like this, and you're interacting with your spouse. You'd be surprised, brothers, like sisters come and they complain to the imams about their husbands not taking care of themselves in that area, right? So take care of these acts and observe these acts, especially as a married person. This is from grooming yourself. It is from taking care of your hygiene. It is from beautification. Now, oppression? If it's something which is known that it is off-putting, to your spouse, then yes, it can be an act of oppression. If it is off-putting and she's expressed this to you, or if he has expressed this to his wife, that hair in these areas is somewhat off-putting to him, and the person still does not take heed and is conscious of that, then it can be an act of oppression. Now, concerning the beard, then there is a tanbih that we want to mention regarding the beard. It is that some men, they go to extremes in grooming their beard. They go to extremes in grooming the beard. We have this narration that Imam Ahmed brings, as well as Abu Dawud and Nasa'i, that Ruwayfi' said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, Ya Ruwayfi', لَعَلَّ الْحَيَاءَ تَطُولُ بِكَ. He said, O Ruwayfi', perhaps you will live a long life. He said, فَأَخْبِرِ النَّاسِ أَنَّ مَنْ أَقَدَ لِحْيَتَهُ. So inform the people that whoever twists up his beard, أَوْ تُقَلِّدْ وَتْرًا, or he ties a string. He ties a string, meaning that this is a practice that was done by the pre-Islamic Arabs. They would tie strings upon themselves, put them upon their wrists, or put them upon their animals and things like this, believing that it would bring them good fortune. أو استنجاء برجيع دابة أو عظم, or to make istinja with animal dung or with bones, that whoever does that, فَإِنَّ مُحَمَّدًا بَرِيءٌ مِّنْهُ, then Muhammad is free of him. The Sheikh Hassan ibn Sheikh al-Islam, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, he said ta'qid al-lihya, that he said that to twist up and to tie and to braid up one's beard, kana min af'al ahl jahiliyyah. This was done during the people in the pre-Islamic days of ignorance. And this was done by the people, and most often in times of battle and war. They would twist their beards up, and they would utilize that as a means of, the youth say swagging on them. When they would face the enemy, they would show that, they would show bravery by way of doing that. They would do this, and it would show that they came to fight. They came to fight, and they're ready for battle. And they would boast and brag over each other by way of that. فَكَانُوا يُظَفِرُونَ اللِّحْيَةَ نَعْمُ. And so that they would put these huge braids inside of their lihya. أو أنه من ذي العاجم. And likewise, it has been said that this is from the those things that were indicative of the non-Arabs. The non-Arabs, they got it from them. That the Arabs in the pre-Islamic days of ignorance took it from the non-Arabs. And this is when they would do this takabburan, out of arrogance, or ajaban, or out of self-amazement, being amazed with themselves. They would twist up and braid up their beards. It's also been said that the meaning of what is mentioned in the hadith, now this is the part that you have to pay attention to, brothers. What he mentioned in the hadith is that man aqada lihyatahu, whoever aqada lihyatahu, that it has also been said that the meaning of this is that an al-insan yu'alij sha'ra lihyatihi, the person, he begins to treat his beard hair. He does all kind of stuff to it, right? Until the beard hair becomes curly and wavy, right? I know some brothers, they actually used to perm their beard hair. Wallahu musta'an. Right? So they begin to put all types of chemicals in there's nothing wrong with grooming yourself. Nothing wrong with combing it out. Nothing wrong with putting henna in your beard. If you're an older brother and you have gray, as we don't put henna in unless you have gray. If you put henna in before you have gray, the ulama mentioned this is from at-tashabbuh bi an-nisa, from imitating women. Because the women, they can dye their hair even if they have no gray. They can dye it and they can play around with their beautification however they like, as long as it's not indicative of something that is impermissible. However, for men, we can only do it if we have shape, if we have gray. Nah? And so, but some go to extremes with this, with grooming the beard, until they treat it and it becomes curly and wavy and it looks wet and the likes of this. They say that. They would say that هذا من أفعال أهل التأنيث. That this is from the actions of the effeminate people. People who are feminine. Going to extremes in grooming oneself. Now, the Messenger of Allah, alayhi wasallam, he would advise with combing one's hair and grooming one's beard and the likes of this, illa gibban. He said he would say, don't do this illa gibban, meaning except occasionally. Except occasionally. Naam. And so, كَالَّذِي يَحْتَمْ بِشَعْرِ رَأْسِهِ, such as, for example, the one who is overly concerned with beautifying himself. He's in the mirror all day as though he's a female. Now, he says, and so it is as if this is the action of women, and it is not for men. It's not for the men to be like this. فَنَهَى النَّبِي صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ عَنْ هَذَا كُلِّ فِي اللِّحْيَةِ وَشَعْرِ الرَّأْسِ. So the Prophet alayhi wasallam, he prohibited all of this, whether it is in connection to the beard or the hair of the head. Again, you groom yourself, take care of your appearance. I mean, this is a good thing. Allah is beautiful, He loves beauty. But don't be overly concerned as men with beautifying yourself all day. Right? You're constantly brushing your hair, and constantly, just overly concerned with looking pretty. Now, another error or mistake regarding beautification is that of men wearing jewelry. Men wearing jewelry. The legend of Daima was asked, ما هي الحلي التي يجوز للرجل أن يلبسها? What is the jewelry that is permissible for a man to wear? They said in response, أولا لا ينبغي للرجل. It is not appropriate and proper for a man to overdo it in wearing jewelry, and he make himself to be similar to a woman. ليس له هم إلا تحسين شكله, meaning that he has no other concern other than beautifying himself. This is his whole concern. We know guys that are like this. May Allah protect us. Now, and he says, or they said that, فَإِنَّ هَذَا مِنْ شُؤُونَ النِّسَاءِ, because this is from the affairs of the women. And I mean, it's not an aid for a woman to be like this. For a woman to constantly beautify herself and be concerned with her beauty, this is not an aid for her. This is okay for her. But it's an aid for a man. It's an aid for a man. Now, Allah Ta'ala mentioned inside of his book, our man يُنَشَّأُ في الحلية وهو في الخصام غير مبين, referencing or speaking about that one who was brought up in hilya, is brought up in a state of adornment and beautification, and is protected, is in a state of protection, like a protected pearl or jewel. This is speaking about who? The women. Speaking about the women, that this is their asl, that they should be like this. The woman should be one who beautifies herself, especially as a married woman, and there's nothing at all wrong with her being like this. Now, this is in reference to the legend that says the affair of the women. وَالَّذِي لَا يُنَشَّأْ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ هُوَ مُبِينٌ فِي الْخِصَامِ هُوَ الرَّجُلُ. But the one who is not like that, the one who is the opposite of that, this is the affair of the man. فَلَا يَنْبَغِي لِلرَّجُلِ. So it is not proper and befitting for the man to place himself in the position of the female. Now, and from that which indicates that, ولهذا حرم على الرجل لباس الذهب سواء كان قلادة أو سوارا أو خاتما. So due to this, it is impermissible for the man to wear gold. It is impermissible for the man to wear gold, whether it be a necklace or a bracelet or a ring, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said regarding gold and silk, حِلَّ لِي إِنَاثِ أُمَّتِي, it is permissible for the women of my ummah, but haram ala dhukuriha, but it is haram upon its men. So it is permissible for the women to wear gold. Anything which jarat bihi al-ada, as they say that the ada that is customary for the woman in her particular locale to wear this type of jewelry, then it's totally fine and permissible for her, whether it be a nose ring. If the women in that locale, they wear nose rings, or she has her ears pierced, or some other piercing that has become widespread and common amongst the women of her locale, and does not equal up to or does not amount to mutilation of herself. Now, she wears a bracelet, she wears necklaces and rings on any of the fingers that she likes. Whereas the man, if he does wear a ring, it is not to be gold, and it is to be where? Where's the ring to be? On the pinky finger. On the pinky finger. Sheikh bin Baz holds that it's also permissible for the man to wear the ring upon what we call the ring finger. Now, Sheikh bin Baz said he can wear it upon the ring finger or the pinky finger. But as for the other fingers, then no. The woman, she can wear a ring on any finger that she likes. On any finger that she likes. Even if she can have one on every finger if she wants to. If her husband wants to buy that for her. Now. Yes, sir.
However, the ring should weigh 1.5 to 2 dirhams.
This is the price in terms of the value. And of course, this is in relation to the value as it was during the time of the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We want to mention another issue, and that is that of ear piercing for men. Ear piercing for men. It's khata. The men should not be accustomed to piercing their ears. Or if one had an ear piercing in Jahiliyyah before he became Muslim, let it close up. Go ahead and let it close up. Now, I personally asked Sheikh Ali al-Wasifi about this. And Sheikh Ali al-Wasifi, rahimahullah, he responded, Laysa fihi maslaha. Yani this is something which there's no benefit in it for the man. There's no benefit in it for the man. وَهُوَ النَّوْعُ مِنْ التَّعْذِيبِ. And for the man, it is a type of mutilation. It is mutilating your body. Bila, and it has no justification. And it is resembling women. It is resembling women. And then he quoted from Ibn Qayyim, rahimahullah, who mentioned Amma Thuq as-Sabi, as for plus piercing the ears of the boy. It has no benefit in it whatsoever. And it is considered to be cutting of one's limbs. And it has no religious benefit, nor any worldly benefit. Therefore, it is not permissible. انتهى كلامه من تحفة المولود. For the man, no, of course. As for the affair of wearing watches, then the guideline regarding that is one. Sheikh Hamoud at-Tuwajiri is of the viewpoint that for a man to wear a metal watch is not proper. When you do wear a watch, it should fit you. It should be snug on you, and it should not be loose. Okay? He says that min al-munkarat al-zahira ayda, from the munkarat, yani the repugnant affairs, is men wearing watches as if they are the bracelets of women, meaning that they're loose. The watch is loose on a man's wrist. He says from the munkarat. He says, and wearing a watch that combines within it the imitation of women and imitation of the kuffar from the Franks, other than them, from the enemies of Allah. And it contains within it resembling the people of the hellfire, because hadid or steel, it is the jewelry of the people of the hellfire. Steel is the jewelry of the people of the hellfire. Now, likewise from the errors that you find in beautification. And we're speaking about now.
It should be worn on the right hand instead of the left hand, because the left hand will imitate the kuffar, and we wear it on the left.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter in terms of which hand. Like, because as I was growing up, maybe it's the same for brothers who are around my age. We were taught that if you were right-handed, then you wear the watch on the left hand. If you're left-handed, you wear it on the opposite hand. This is how we were taught. So as I got older, I began to do the opposite, just because this is what I learned growing up as a kafir, right? So I began to do the opposite. So now I wear my watch on my right hand. But the reality is that, and I've asked some of the ulama this question personally, and they said it doesn't matter what hand the watch goes on. Now, Another affair that we want to mention is an error in beautification for the women is the woman shaving a portion of her head. Like you see some of the hairstyles that some of the kuffar women they wear today, where they may leave some of their hair and shave a portion of their head. Sheikh bin Baz, he said that it is not permissible for the woman to shave her head. It's not permissible for the woman to shave her head. بل يجب أن تبقي الرأس. Rather, what is obligatory upon her is that she let her hair remain, because her hair is a beautification for her, an adornment for her, and it is a differentiation for her from the men. فَلَيْسَ لَهَا, so it is not for her to shave her head, even if she makes Hajj and Umrah. The woman who makes Hajj and Umrah, she doesn't shave like the man does. She what? She clips a small portion of her hair. She clips a small portion of her hair. Now, so the woman is not to shave. إِلَّا إِذَا كَانَ إِلَّا, except if there is an illah, she has some reason, some medical issue in her head and the likes of that, and the doctors have recommended that the hair be removed in order that they can perform surgery upon her, or that her head can be treated for whatever reason. If there's an illah, a justified reason for her to do that, then okay. Now, otherwise, it is not for her, Sheikh bin Baz said, to shave her head, tasahulan, and taking this affair lightly, or taqleedan al-kafara, or blind following the disbelievers and other than them. He says, rather, it is obligatory upon her to cultivate her hair. She cultivates her hair. She takes care of it, and she does her hair up and the likes of this because of what that contains within it from beautification. 10b, some men as well, you find them wearing hairstyles of women. You find some men allowing their hair to grow long. It's known that when the Messenger of Allah let his hair grow long, when he did let his hair grow long, it came to his shoulders and not past that. When he did, that was long for him. It came to his shoulders and not beyond that. The also was that his hair would stop at his ears. It would stop at his ears. Now, but you find some men, they wear upon themselves hairstyles of women, whether that may be letting their hair grow long and, and letting their soul glow. Yeah. This is a shoulder length. I find it to be shoulder length. Now, it is reported from Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, that he mentioned, لَعَنَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم المتشبهين من الرجال بالنساء. The Messenger of Allah, he cursed the men who imitate women. He cursed the men that imitate women. What we have to bear in mind as well, and we conclude with this point, is the promise of shaitan. What shaitan promised to do. What shaitan promised to do, he said that, what is translated to mean, and I'm going to command them. I'm going to give them my command. And they're going to change and alter the creation of Allah Ta'ala. They're going to change and alter the creation of Allah Ta'ala. Now, وَمَنْ يَتَّخِذَ الشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيًّا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ, and whoever takes shaitan as a wali instead of Allah Ta'ala, فَقَدْ خَسِرَ خُسْرَانًا مُبِينًا. This person has lost with a clear loss. Imam Sa'di, he mentioned concerning this. He mentioned concerning this that this alteration and changing of the creation of Allah Ta'ala, he said that what is included in that is taghyir al-khilqa, is changing one's makeup, changing one's appearance. Naam, and that is done by way of tattooing, one getting upon themselves tattoos, likewise one placing artificial gaps in between their teeth, likewise one adding extensions to their hair for beautification, and the likes of that. And we will add to that, and this is myself, not a Saudi speech, what we find some of the women doing, from shaving their eyebrows off and drawing them back on their face. For the life of me, I can't understand this. No, these long eyelashes, which we find some of the women attaching to their faces and the likes of this. All of this is included in that, and it is into that from altering and changing one's appearance. And the likes of that, Sa'di says, from that with which the shaitan has led the people astray, so that they change the creation of Ar-Rahman. وَذَلِكَ يَتَضَمَّنْ التَّسَخُّدْ مِنْ خِلْقَتِهِ. And in this lies a type of displeasure with one's creation. You're displeased with your creation. And you are you consider the wisdom of Allah Ta'ala to be non-existent. Now, and you believe that what the people can do with their hands is better than the creation of Ar-Rahman. And not being pleased with Allah Ta'ala's divine decree. And we find some of the people getting surgeries, getting, all these different types of surgery. Now, certain types of corrective surgery are permissible. A person may correct something and bring it back to its original state, or bring it back to a whole and complete state. And with certain limitations, this is permissible. Now, we're speaking about the likes of what we find, some of this unnecessary stuff you find that people get because they're displeased with what Allah Ta'ala has portioned out for them. All of that is from the deception of shaitan for the people, and them obeying his command and changing and altering the creation of Allah Ta'ala. These are just some of the errors and mistakes that we find taking place in beautification. Allah Ta'ala knows best. We conclude here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. Now. No. So there's khilaf between the scholars about this. I even personally myself have gone back and forth on my position on it. I may read something or hear something from one alim and it changes my perspective. I may read something another day and it changes my mind again. How could that we find like Imam Ahmed rahimahullah, on occasions you may find multiple statements from him regarding one issue. He may say one issue is permissible, and then another statement from him, he said that the same issue is not permissible. This is due to his sincerity and trying to follow the evidence. That if new information comes to him, he would follow that the information if he found it to be correct. I say this to say that there's khilaf between the scholars on it. Some say that it's permissible. Some say that it's not permissible. What the issue goes back to is this. And this is what we find to be the strongest viewpoint. That the yarn would be permissible if it's a corrective hairstyle. Meaning it's going to strengthen and support the hair that she currently has. And 2, it's clearly distinguishable from her actual hair. And 3, it does not extend beyond the length of her actual hair. If it goes beyond the length of her actual hair, then in that case it enters into adding extensions to the hair. So this is what we find to be correct. Allah Ta'ala knows best. Again, some of the scholars say it's outright not permissible. But this seems to be the balanced view. No.
You see certain men get haircuts, like mohawks, shave more on one side than the other, or like even down to fades. Like say like the top of the hair is like even you said you have hair here, but it's bald all the way around. Right. Is this correct to have?
No, this is from oppression of the hair. And it's not permissible to oppress even one's hair. So when you cut some and then you don't cut the other parts, or that you groom some, even for the women, it should be color one part and not color the other part, right? This is oppression of the hair. So whenever you get a haircut, your hair should all be one length. It should all be one length, and you don't cut some and leave the rest of it. No.
In regards to the first thing, for being circumcised, like in hospitals and stuff like that, when a child is born. Especially for the female, I don't hear of it too much, but like, are they doing these things in regards to like circumcising the child? Like, I don't know exactly how they do it. Like,
well, the origin that if we have sons or if the brothers themselves have been circumcised, then they know that typically it's done correctly. It's done just as we do it. This is what you'll find. Like you said, that as far as the women. I haven't heard of a female circumcision here in America at all, anywhere really. So it's just something that will likely be done in some of the Muslim countries. I know they do it in Egypt and in hospitals if you request it. So, no.
So, what you mentioned about changing the creation of Al-Rahman, like eyelashes, tattoos, somebody's inclined to that within themselves, or looking at a spouse that has those features, could that be a sign of corruption and sickness of the heart?
So if you look at these features and you're attracted to it and you find it to be nice, yeah, a person should never be pleased with something that Allah is displeased with, right? So to be pleased with something that angers your Lord, then this is an indication of deficiency in your tawheed, deficiency in your understanding of your religion. So that's it.
What did you say about the one, say like before they became Muslim, or even while he was Muslim, they might have just been ignorant. They got tattoos and stuff like that. And then now for them to go and get it removed, what's the
Yeah, so yeah, that's what Tara from the Mashaykh about this. Sheikh Uthaymeen spoke about it as well, about removal of the tattoos, and it's perfectly fine as long as it's not going to damage the skin and scar you and things like this. Then it's perfectly fine to go ahead and have it removed. You know, if a person were to leave it on the basis that this is from before my Islam, then you know there's no sin upon you for something that took place before your Islam. But if you remove it, then it's perfectly fine. Alhamdulillah. Even to the point that I recently asked Sheikh Mustafa Mabram about making Hajj or Umrah, or making Umrah. And we know that we have to, you know, you have to uncover your right shoulder when you make tawaf or what have you. And you know, one of our brothers had something there that yani is a tattoo, and the origin is that okay, you got it from before your Islam, but it was what he had in that particular area. And Sheikh Mustafa, he mentioned that, you know, in this case, this is just by way of a benefit, because, you know, hopefully the brother get a chance to make Umrah or Hajj, that is based upon what is there. If it's something that is indicative of kufr and shirk and like this, or something that is an image that of something that has a soul in it, then you can keep your shoulder covered. You can keep your shoulder covered when you're doing tawaf for that reason. But if it's just something that's, you know, ayati, some words or what have you, then you got it from before your Islam, then, you know, it doesn't harm. Inshallah. Inshallah. Barakallah.